This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Monday, everybody. Good weekends. Good to be back in the saddle.
Good to see you. I haven't even said hello.
I know.
Erica.
Hi.
What's up, man?
That's how he's.
Hey.
Hi.
It's weird how that happens. We started a different show, and I'm like, oh, Erica, I didn't even see you yet. We're on air. So we say hi to each other on air. We come and go in the night.
That's right.
Or in the day.
Ships in the night.
All right. The Screen Actor Guild Awards were held in LA last night, with many of the actors paying respects to the people of the Ukraine. Will Smith also picked up his first SAG Award for King Richard and thanked Venus Williams for giving the movie her blessing. Watch.
The Williams family, you entrusted me and our group with your story. You didn't agree to put your name on it till you saw the final project. I agree. I get that. You know, it's cool. That's real. That's real, because we be messing stuff up sometimes.
And Michael Keaton was late picking up his award for Dope Sick. He joked he was in the bathroom, but later got emotional when he paid tribute to his nephew who died of a drug overdose. Let's watch.
Thank you.
This is for my nephew, Michael, and my sister, Pam. I lost my nephew, Michael, to drugs, and it hurts. This is for my sister, Pam. Thanks.
Wow. That was real. Will Smith's was funny but real, and I think that's what the award shows are missing, right? The humanity, the reality behind it. Speaking just with Michael Keaton, you know, that really hit home, and he played a part that specifically had a hand in his son's overdose. So that had to be very emotional. His nephew's overdose. So that had to be very emotional while he was also on set, too.
Yeah, he becomes like a human being. Like, it's like, there's Batman, there's Beetlejuice. No, he's just an uncle and has a nephew, and he just has what everybody else has gone through. So relatable. Yeah. So relatable.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe this is where we are, Erica. Maybe we are going to need to start to address the pain that's like right underneath the surface of this country. We all look at these numbers of like how many people we've lost through, you know, just opioid, addiction, death. And we look at these numbers and we go, that's a lot of people. Where did they go? Well, they were related to somebody. They were married to somebody. They were somebody's nephew, niece. And there's this pain that's just residing right underneath the surface. And I think when that's touched even just a little bit through a movie, through a SAG Award, it comes right to the surface. And until we address the fact that there is a trauma that has been pushed on this country unknowingly, I don't know how we can move on without just getting that out. I feel like the whole country needs to have a Michael Keaton moment.
Well, I also think it's how it's addressed. For anybody, you know, who has lost someone in this way because of an overdose, a lot of us don't even talk about those people or how they actually died because there's such a shame, or there's such a protection of their name, you know, type thing. Like, it's not as honorable if you passed away from your addiction. And so to redefine that narrative that these were people who were sick and they weren't able to get, you know, help in time, and these were people who were loved and missed, and to grieve them regardless of the way that they died is so important. And this is kind of one of the first generations and first times that we're having those conversations openly and honestly, and being like, I still miss him. You know, like his death was a tragedy. And when he died, we didn't talk about it this way because we didn't want him to be remembered this way. But to remember someone in terms of the legacy that they are leaving for other people, and how their death might actually help someone is really an important narrative that we need to share more.
And for Keaton to take that role, to show that it was manipulation. It wasn't just these people. They were victims of manipulation. So that's also important to talk about.
Yeah. Now I want to move on because there's other moments, but it's weird. This pharmaceutical company just a couple years ago were the devil, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like brought to you by It's a little strange.
Yeah.
Strange. All right. There were some other moments, like we mentioned. Selena Gomez had a little mishap before the awards. She took a tumble on the red carpet after one of her black stilettos reportedly broke. Later, she walked on stage barefoot, but kept her sense of humor. That's what it's all about while presenting an award with Martin Short. Let's watch.
Who's excited?
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. Although it's hard for me to express my excitement because the Botox is fresh.
All right, mine too. And the actor goes too.
I like it. I like it. Martin Short, still going.
I just want him to host everything. I find him, I can't even, just looking at him makes me laugh.
With Steve Martin,
With
too.
Steve
Like
Martin,
that
I just
combo.
think they're just fabulous.
Yeah.
He's just really funny. I hope I'm like that. He's a physical comic. He makes me laugh.
I would say you're more like Selena Gomez falling on the red carpet.
Hey, we've all been there. We've all been there. I was thinking, I got my first pair of nice shoes, and I was so excited. And I took off walking down the streets, Michigan Avenue, and I got that sucker stuck in a grate.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the patent leather ripped up the side of it, and I walked down Michigan Avenue, just limping all the way down, like, oh man. That's why I don't do nice shoes. Don't.
Al, did you ever have one of these moments, a little mishap on stage doing stand-up, something like that?
There's been a couple situations. I almost fell off the stage a couple times because sometimes when you do theaters, especially when it's your first time, you can't see the front row. It's completely black, and it's just a huge spotlight on you. Wow. And there's been a couple times where there's this weird thing where you'll just be like, look down, and you'll look down, and half your shoe is hanging off the stage. So you know if you took one more step. There's a famous Fraser.
Oh, dear God.
No, not Niles. The Fraser Crane, whatever his real name is.
Oh, Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
When he fell off the stage and for comics, I was like,
that's when he goes, oh dear God.
Yeah.
Fell in there. He was okay.
Yes.
But
it was a legendary fall, but we've all seen that and been very close to that a couple times.
And I like Selena, how she came back, cracked a joke, and just kept on moving. That's what it's all about.
That's what you do.
Yep.
That's right. Helen Mirren can also laugh at herself. She made a joke about her age while picking up the Lifetime Achievement Award. Let's check it out.
Thank you, SAG, so much for this. I hate to say the word SAG at my age. It's, it's always SAG for me.
Are you a fan, Tori?
Yes, and I also have to say, Helen Mirren, just look up some early pictures of Helen Mirren, even today, absolutely drop-dead gorge. Gorgeous.
But I think that was her thing. She says she doesn't feel seen now, and you're bringing up her old pictures.
She still looks fabulous. I think she's just gorgeous.
What is your overall opinion of it?
Like gorgeous.
Oh, okay, good.
Why isn't anyone else talking?
No, I mean,
what are you talking about?
You were
very excited, but you use gorgeous a lot.
I'm sorry. I think people don't know a young Helen Mirren is like supermodel gorgeous, like just stunning. And now she's also gorgeous.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think this was her whole problem with the speech. She thought that she didn't feel seen, and you helped her out with that.
Anytime.
Helen Mirren, #gorgeous. Coming up on DBL, Adam Richmond from Man vs. Food talks about his new show where he eats his way through the 80s. Plus, comedian John Mulaney hosts SNL for a 5th time. We're talking about it next.
Closed captioning provided by
Oh, I thought she was
Tori's got some. I think she thinks Helen Mirren's gorgeous.
Yeah. Not only then, but now too.
Yes.
I was just waiting for her to loop back in because it's like you can't say that.
I mean, what do you think about older folks saying that they don't feel seen?
I think
I can see it.
Yeah.
I totally can see that. Especially now, it's like with social media. There is obviously there's younger people dominate social media more than older people, and then there's a sense of like we grew up saying like we knew it all, but this is like a choir. It's like a world silo echo chamber that's like, no, you guys messed everything up, and like yes, a lot of things were messed up for the younger generation, but I think that we don't have that equal balance to hear like, yeah, but we got this right because before us y'all would have been dealing with this and this.
Yeah, I have a rule, and this sounds very weird.
Oh, man.
If I want to do something tech-wise, promotion-wise in 2022, I'll ask a 14 or 15-year-old, because those are the people that are kind of most in tune with that.
No.
But if
I'm
I
not
want to
gonna
know
say that. I
anything
was just
about
wondering.
relationships, business-wise, what should I do? My next door neighbor's throwing trash on my lawn.
Like that.
I ask a person 20, 25 years older than me, because they've had time to reflect, because they did that. They tried that probably both
I won't
ways,
bring that up.
and you
No,
figure
I
out
won't
what
bring that
works
up.
and what doesn't. So I feel like relationships-wise, I feel like it's very interesting that young people they consult each other. Rather than like being like, hey, auntie, what should I do? I'm sure this guy,
No, and I get it, but also I can see why younger generations do that, because they aren't dealing with the same relationship issues that Auntie was dealing with. Auntie didn't have Tinder.
Thanks.
Auntie didn't have Tinder.
Welcome back to DBL. That was SNL, who paid respects to the people of Ukraine by opening the show with a Ukrainian choir, and host John Mulaney made fun at his recent stint in rehab. Take a look.
I was there January 6th during the insurrection. Wouldn't have happened on my watch, because I would have seen to it. Was there ever an insurrection before I went to rehab? No. Has there been one since I got out? Absolutely not. They wouldn't dare. They know Baby J is back on the streets.
Baby J. Al, how big is that moment as a comic, if you ever had the chance, which I believe you will one day, to step on that SNL stage? How big of a moment is that for a comic?
That's the pinnacle. I mean, we're starting to see people, and I'm looking at some of my friends, hitting the pinnacle of their career. I was flying back from, I forgot where I was a couple weeks ago. I was flying back, and Chicago. And I was flying back, and my buddy Kumail was on 2 movies. In the he had obviously
X-Men, right?
The Marvel?
The Marvel yes.
one. I don't want to say anything wrong. And then he had the other one that was like a rom-com. And I was like, well, I used to do comedy shows in the back of a comic book store with him. And so you're seeing people kind of reach the pinnacle, and for him to take that moment, rather than tell him, have a monologue just full of jokes, he's a great joke writer, he talked about something so personal and something that he knew the audience was probably thinking about, and he made it relatable, and actually relatable to our first story. So I think that's really good that we're starting to see comics talking about this, famous actors talking about this. We all need to get this out. There's been a plague on our country that has been the opioid crisis, and until we get past that, drugs, alcohol is all the same thing. I've dealt with it. It's just a thing. And so I really do respect what he did, and he used that platform to do it. So big props to me.
Yeah, and also he was a writer on SNL, head writer, and he was hosted 5 times. So he got inducted into the 5 Timers Club. So Steve Martin was there, Candace Bergen was there, Elliot Gould was there, Paul Rudd was there, and you get this jacket, and it's a great sketch if you have time to go back. The whole Saturday Night Live was great. I've had a problem with John Mulaney because of what happened with his ex and moving on to Olivia Munn, and there's been some question of did he cheat or not. So there's always been this feeling. So I didn't know how to feel when he came on, and for him to just address his drug dealer and to talk about rehab was very, very refreshing and relatable, and I thought the whole episode was great. I really did.
That's right.
Yeah, I just think we talked about earlier how it's taboo, like about how someone passes or whatever. Now people bringing their addictions and their sobriety to light, right? I think it's a great reflection of where we're at, and people are able to talk about it. In this case, even make jokes and laugh at yourself about it, even though it's not a laughing matter. But to bring it up in some sort of way is better than suppressing it and not talking about it at all, right?
Amen. And look at what Kevin Hart has done, Laugh in My Pain, and then going on to, which I thought was an excellent, was it on Netflix? Netflix series where it really was kind of, you're like, okay, this isn't totally about him, but it's not about him.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, just being so transparent and making it, you know, not only a lesson, but an entertainment value to that lesson. That's where we're at.
I like it. I like it. All right, guys, coming up on DBL, Adam Richmond spotlights forgotten foods in his new show, Adam Eats the 80s. Our interview with the Man vs. Food star is coming up next.
We all know that
Major League Baseball was supposed to play ball starting February 26th in spring training, but there's an impasse over various issues, including players' salaries, and owners implemented a lockout when the latest collective bargaining agreement between the players and the league expired in December. Fans will miss at least a week of preseason baseball, and this could potentially delay opening day, which is currently scheduled for March 31st.
So, let's verify. Has MLB ever missed any regular season games due to a lockout?
Our sources are the MLB, the Major League Baseball Players Association, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Before this year, the MLB says there have been 8 work stoppages. 3 were owners' lockouts, and 5 were player strikes. A player strike is when the players refuse to play, and 3 of their 5 strikes have resulted in canceled games, including one of the longest strikes in pro sports history that began during the 1994 season and carried over to the following year, meaning the league canceled the 94 postseason. The BLS describes a lockout as when team owners refuse to let the players work or play baseball. The first lockout was in 1973, but the players and owners agreed to a deal just before spring training began. There was another lockout before the 1976 preseason, but the MLB commissioner ordered the games to continue, and a deal was signed in August. The last lockout was in 1990, which delayed the start of the season by 1 week, but teams played all 162 games.
So, no, MLB has never missed any regular season games due to a lockout, but it has missed games for player strikes.
Even though the players don't have a contract, the league could still lift the lockout and resume play while negotiations continue. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. He's a self-taught food expert, and earlier Adam Richmond took us on a stroll down memory lane to talk about his late mentor Anthony Bourdain and his new show Adam Eats the 80s. Take a look.
We got to talk to you about Anthony Bourdain. May he rest in peace. He mentored you. What piece of advice did he give that stuck with you?
It had to do with the scrutiny of others, like either on social media or in the press. And he was just talking about the toxic nature of overinvesting in what other people think of you. He said, and I quote, "Otherwise you risk getting nibbled to death by ducks."
Wow.
And I don't know why, for some reason that really resonates with me. So he went through a lot, and he was a stoic, amazing dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that story. So Man vs. Food, Adam, rocketed you to stardom. What was the biggest obstacle you had to overcome with all the challenges and almost the overnight success that you had?
But quite frankly, that people expected that I ate like that all the time. So I would go out and I remember I went down to Florida. I was going to surprise my grandma. And I think it was like the day of the AFC championship, and I wanted to watch it. I went to a wing place near my hotel, and I had gotten a salad with grilled chicken, and the guy came up and he was like, "How could you be eating a salad?" He was like, "You blasphemer, you charlatan. You bastard. I expect you to have 50 wings. I've worshipped the wrong gods my whole life."
You let him down. You let him down.
You're making Jeff cry. Jeff's eyes are watering.
Listen, Adam, I don't want to take this. I just like to tell people when I met them, I was nobody. I met you at CBS one time. You were so gracious with your time. You shared all these stories. And I just want to say, I want people to know, when I meet good people, what great people they are outside of the camera. So I just want to tell you that.
That's really thoughtful. I have my sound guy's kind of like a brother to me since the first season of Man vs. Food, and he saw you. Like you said, no one tells you how to become famous or any of this stuff. And he taught me a very powerful lesson. He said, for you, it may be the 20th time the day you meet someone who might be a fan. He said, but for them, it might be the only time they ever meet someone that they're a fan of on television.
Yeah.
And you have to take that into consideration. And I'll be honest with everyone here on Daily Blast, like, I couldn't afford cable till I got on cable.
Wow.
And when I finally saw how many stations there were and people wanted to spend 22 and a half minutes with my monkey ass, I'm sorry. Like, I was so, at least I'm not out here airdropping photos to people, but like, I'm just.
Yes, that was the name of my first band.
Segue.
Segue. All right, so tell us, speaking of the 80s, I tried to pop my collar, but like it didn't work. Tell us about your new show, Adam Eats the 80s, because the show isn't just about food. Talk to me. What is it about? The 80s?
So basically, it's just looking back at this incredibly dynamic, incredibly vibrant decade, just through the prism of food. And so we'll do like a deep dive into the sort of origins of like the brands that became like global icons, national icons, but also we get a chance to sort of, I guess, resurrect and recreate some of the foods of the 80s that have gone the way of the dodo, and we find out why. But the coolest part is, because I'm doing it with History Channel, we get to contextualize it all. So we get into the commercials, the jingles. I get to redo the infomercials. In particular, very proud of my work on the Ginsu knife commercial. I cut the tin can, then I cut the tomato, I cut the rubber hose, I did the Juice Man juicer, the Ron Popeil egg scrambler. And the bottom line is, these foods are in the 80s. We know the big hair and stuff, but how cool is it to put it all in context with really delicious, ridiculously delicious food?
Do you take a deep dive into, I'm sure, all of our childhood favorite, hot dog on a stick? I wasn't allowed to eat
Oh my
that.
God.
We need a deep dive for that. We get the concept.
It's right in the title.
Yeah.
It's a hot dog.
Do you have any diagrams that you
we do a lot of the food court classics.
Okay.
So we do Cinnabon. We go to the first ever Auntie Anne's Pretzels in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We go to the first ever Panda Express, the Glendale Galleria. And I have to tell you, it's really remarkable because, now in this day and age where people are really talking so much about immigration and talking so much about empowering people, female entrepreneurs and stuff, that's the coolest part of Auntie Anne. Had a farmer's market stand. The mall manager didn't want to give her a shot. He said, go by the parking lot. Meanwhile, the smell as people entered the mall blew her up, and that mall manager went on to buy a franchise. And, the Panda Express brand is owned all by the same family. And I think that's the cool part, too, that there's delicious food. And the food is
so cool.
That's
this guy.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with this guy, right?
Can't wait. Yep.
Yes.
Adam, thank you so much for chatting with us.
You got to come back.
Yes, please.
I would love to.
Yep.
I'd be honored. Thanks for having me on today.
And you can watch Adam's shows, Adam Eats the 80s, and the foods that built America on History. Thank you so much, Adam.
Yeah,
we'll be
great.
right back.
You're
Rad.
Thank you
Rad.
guys so much.
You deserve it.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Ever since the pandemic began nearly 2 years ago, there have been claims suggesting hospitals receive extra funding when a patient dies from COVID-19. It started in April 2020 when Minnesota State Senator Scott Jensen went on Fox News and claimed doctors were being encouraged to overcount COVID-19 deaths. This led to viral social media posts that amplified this message. Verify viewer Gene and several others emailed us to ask if this is real. So let's verify. Do hospitals get more money when they list COVID-19 as a patient's cause of death? Our sources are the American Hospital Association, the CARES Act, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and the Kaiser Family Foundation. When the CARES Act was signed into law by President Donald Trump, it gave hospitals an extra 20% payment for treating Medicare patients with COVID-19. All three of our sources say this additional payment has nothing to do with cause of death. The AHA explained the extra money is intended to cover the increased cost of personal protective equipment, additional cleaning materials, and other precautions that are needed for COVID-19 patients. A spokesperson added the extra payments specifically covered their treatment and were not dependent on whether a patient lived or died. In order to receive the additional 20%, the Kaiser Family Foundation says the patient's medical record must contain a positive lab test. And so far, they found, quote, there is no evidence of hospitals gaming the system to boost payments inappropriately. KFF tells Verify what's written on the death certificate has no bearing on the money hospitals receive. So It's false that hospitals get more money when they list COVID-19 as a patient's cause of death. The AHA's president and CEO Rick Pollack says incorrectly using the COVID-19 diagnosis code can result in criminal charges and the hospital's exclusion from the Medicare program. The extra reimbursement also only applies to patients that are on Medicare, which KFF estimates is about 1 in 5 Americans. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis. Russia began attacking Ukraine early on February 24th, and videos claiming to be from the attack quickly followed on social media. So we're stepping in to fact check them. First, there's this video on Twitter with more than 300,000 views with the caption, "Stay safe, you all living in Ukraine." So let's verify. Does this video show an aerial attack in Ukraine? Our sources are videos posted to YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and Flight Global's annual Air Force inventory. Verify found the same video was posted in October 2021 on TikTok with the caption, "You are going to die" in Spanish. 2 days later, it was also posted on YouTube, and it was shared on Instagram. The person who originally posted the video tagged it with CGI, suggesting the video was computer generated. Both videos use the hashtag World War II, and the TikTok uses the hashtag 1940s, which is a nod to the 1940s era propeller planes in the video. Flight Global does not list the Russian military as having any propeller combat aircraft. So, no, this video does not show Russia attacking Ukraine. It was posted 4 months before the invasion. If you see more images and videos claiming to illustrate Russia invading Ukraine, send them to us and we'll check them out. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. New studies show a healthy fitness routine is good for your brain. That's today's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. The study looked at older military veterans and found those who exercised often had a reduced risk of developing Alzheimer's disease later in life. Taking a brisk walk every day is enough exercise to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's disease. It's that simple. QB is a great way to get some quick exercise. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-556-2089 or visit QB.com to learn more. And before we go, we have one more story. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle picked up an NAACP Image Award over the weekend. They got the President's Award for their achievement in public service. Take a look.
We share a commitment to a life of service, a responsibility to confront injustice, and a belief that the most often overlooked are the most important to listen to.
And thank you again for this incredible honor, truly. My mom's here with us tonight, and we all feel very proud.
Just like his mom. Just like his mom. I think about that a lot. That Diana would be very, very proud of Harry and Meghan. That's something she really worked on, was those less fortunate giving a voice.
When's their series coming out? Don't they have a Netflix deal coming out? When's that coming out?
Wasn't it like the umbrella? It wasn't necessarily something that they were going to
people under them.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they might have us, but I don't think the whole thing hinged on their personal content.
Yeah.
Maybe the creation of content.
I'm still waiting for him to blow up that royal family.
I know you are.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place.